Is Jalen Brunson good enough to be the first option on a championship team? Well, yes, he is. He dominated the 76ers in the first round matchup, defeating them in 6 as New York advanced to the second round against a Pacers team that lacks elite defense. Brunson is one of the biggest playoff risers in the league, and we need to give our respect and praise Brunson as a legitimate playoff star. Brunson averaged 35.5 points per game in the first round, most in the entire league, with second best Embiid sitting down at 33. Over the last 4 games of the series, he scored at least 39, putting up 39, 47, 40, and 41, becoming the first player since Michael Jordan to accomplish that feat and the first player ever with 39 and 6 assists in 4 consecutive playoff games. He's the third player of the century with 40 plus in 3 straight playoff games. What makes this accomplishment even more impressive is the low scoring in the series. The Knicks and Sixers averaged 108 points per game, meaning that Brunson scored nearly 33% of the Knicks' points, and in the final 4 games of the series, over 38%. When adding on points from assists, that goes to contributing through scoring or assisting on 53% of the Knicks' points throughout the whole series, and 61.3% in the last 4 games. Yes, way over half of the team's points were directly from Brunson's points or assists. JB's last 4 games were some of the best basketball we have ever seen. In that stretch, he averaged 41.8 points and 10.3 assists on 49.2% field goal percentage. 41 and 10 is already insane, and with the setting it was in against a Joel Embiid-led defense makes it historically special. No player has ever put up those numbers for even a 3-game stretch in the playoffs. Brunson did it for 4 games. It has been done just 4 times ever in the regular season, 3 of which are by former teammate Luka Doncic. What we just saw from Brunson has never been done before, and doing it in this situation makes it even more impressive. New York was lacking another ball handler. Julius Randle, an all-star, is out for the entire playoffs, which puts a lot more pressure and responsibility on Brunson. It didn't matter. In the regular season, Brunson averaged 88 touches a game, 5th most in the league, and 34.3 in the front court, 31st most. In the playoffs, those numbers bumped up to 105.2 total touches, 2nd most only behind Nikola Jokic, and 43.8 frontcourt touches, tied for 4th. This is despite drawing way more defensive attention and against a playoff defense. In the regular season, Brunson averaged 12.6 points off of drives, a very good mark that sat 3rd in the league. But in the playoffs, he's just different. Shea, who led the league in the regular season, has 13 a game. Maxey, who is one of the best drivers and put his name into star conversations this playoffs, had 9.7. And arguably the most dynamic scorer, an average 31 a game in the playoffs, is averaging 9 points off drives. 2nd place, Luka Doncic, one of the most methodical players who is always playing at his own pace, is at 14.4 before game 6. Jalen Brunson, 16.3 points, alongside 2.3 assists, which is 4th most. He's only 6'2". This should not be possible. Embiid is one of the best rim protectors in the league and got the 11th most blocks per game, while the Sixers were not a bad team at protecting the paint. It does not matter. Brunson is just that good. In the regular season, he averaged 11.2 points as the ball handler in the pick and roll, with LaMelo Ball almost averaging as much. But change it to the playoffs, and that number goes to 13.2, only lower than Luka and Lillard. He got to the line on over 13% of those possessions, despite operating in the mid-range heavily off the PNR. Brunson is getting to the line 10.5 times a game, 2nd most in the league. Brunson is a crafty finisher who has a skill at getting contact. Yes, sometimes it may be annoying and not deserved, but JB legitimately creates contact, whether it is the defender's fault or him baiting the defender into giving him contact. Both ways, he's very skilled at it and undoubtedly makes him a scarier player to guard, as he can bait fouls from anywhere. And when it all comes down to it, Brunson leads playoff scoring in total clutch points. Just 11 players are in double digits and 2 have more than 15 points. Brunson has 31 and is shooting 3 for 8 from deep. He also has 5 clutch assists, while nobody else has 4, and is tied for 4th with a plus 11 plus minus. When cutting down to just 2 minutes left and the game within 3, he still leads in scoring with 13 points on 175 splits, and is one of just 2 players with 2 assists and one of just 9 players with 2 or more boards, despite being a short guard. In the 4th quarter overall, he's averaging 8 points and 2 assists, with the only other player to do so being Jamal Murray, as those two are a couple of the greatest playoff risers in the league right now. But just how much does Brunson get better? In the regular season, Brunson averaged 28.7 points, which was 4th most first among qualified players, while in the playoffs it is first with 35.5 points per game. That is nearly a 24% jump in scoring across the two types of seasons, and if he can maintain this, would be the first player since 2021 to average 34 or more a game for a whole playoff run, when Doncic did it for 7 games against the Clippers. 18 players averaged 25 or more this season. 14 of them made the playoffs and 13 played in it. This is how they scored in comparison to their regular season numbers. 6 of the non-12 Brunson players' points per game dipped in the playoffs. The other 4 players to average 28 or more either didn't play or averaged less points, and no other player in the top 10 of scoring, whether they made the playoffs or not, had a jump of more than 0.5 points per game. The Knicks also played at an even slower pace than their already dead last pace from the regular season, going from 95.6 to 91.09. Now, when translating Brunson's 35.5 points per game to the Knicks' regular season pace, that is 37.4 points per game, a mark that has only been reached 4 times in the regular season, all by Wilt Chamberlain, and when adjusting to league average regular season pace, that number jumps up to 38.4 points, which would tie him for 3rd highest. This is all as the lead playmaker with all the defensive attention on him, mind you, from a team that ranked 3rd in defensive rating through December 22nd before Embiid got the injury bug. In the regular season, Brunson's 88 touches were just 21.7% of the team's 404.6 touches a game, but change that to the playoffs and he has 105.2 of the team's 395, a staggering 26.6% of the team's total touches and still over 20% of the front court touches, despite again him being 6'2". In the entire playoff series, he averaged 35, 9, and 4.5 rebounds. That is just the 4th time that has ever been done across the entire playoff series. The only other times being the king of the triple-double, Russell Westbrook, and the players destined to break that record being Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. But about those assists, Brunson is a very good playmaker. Throughout the regular season, he averaged a career high 6.7 assists, most on the Knicks, and second place Randle was out. And in the playoffs, Brunson is averaging the 3rd most assists across the entire league, more than players like Luka, LeBron, and Harden, some of the most prominent playmakers ever. Brunson has created 22.2 points per game from assists and 9.8 adjusted assists, with a 14.3% assist-to-pass percentage. In the 4th quarter, he's making the right move a lot of the time, making multiple clutch passes in the 4th to take away the moment from the Sixers. The Knicks entered the 2nd round as a heavy favorite, as minus 265 on FanDuel, and after the 1st round, it is clear this team can win a championship. Now, odds are the Knicks probably won't. Boston is a better team that will be waiting in the conference finals, and whoever makes it out the West will be a battle-tested squad with the capabilities to beat anybody. But Jalen Brunson is good enough to be the 1A on a championship team. Now, if this was regular season Brunson, he probably isn't, and this is no disrespect to Becky Hammon, because she has a great point, that guys that short, aside from Steph Curry, just are not the 1A on championship teams. And regular season Brunson probably isn't that good, but he is just one of the biggest playoff risers. He has proven for the last 3 years that in the playoffs he can take it up a notch. A complete 180 from his first playoff series in 2021, where he was virtually unplayable against the Clippers. JB becomes a top 10-ish player come playoff time, and the only playoff performers that are definitively better and still in the playoffs are Jokic and Luka. A lot of these superstars are not in the playoffs anymore, and even if they were in the playoffs, Brunson may compete with them and is putting himself in legitimate top 8-ish player conversations.